Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is Skylar Whitman, and tonight we have with us Mr. Jason Brown, who is our National VP of Sales and Marketing. We also have with us Mr. Spence Clausen, who is the CEO of Worth Unlimited. And listen, we're so glad to have you. For those of you that have been with us now for the last few weeks to month or so, you probably already have a sense of how exciting things are, how quickly things are taking off. You've probably heard some of the stories of how the new distribution and the new marketing system is going. And for those of you that have not heard those stories, you're going to hear from one of our top leaders in the field of Worth Unlimited. And what she's experiencing so far, we will introduce her a little bit later on in the call. But without wasting any further time, I would like to go ahead and turn the time over to our National VP of Sales and Marketing, Mr. Jason Brown. Listen, before I go ahead and officially turn the call over to him, I just wanted to say, for those of you that have never heard from Jason before, he is an absolute master at helping people to really wrap their minds around not only one of the best money management and debt solution programs I feel has ever been created, but also in helping independent agents of Worth Unlimited to be able to get a sense of just how massive this opportunity is. Not just to be able to earn a significant income, but also the opportunity to be able to go out there and help individuals and families to be able to take control of their debt, to be able to get out of debt, to be able to build a much brighter financial future. So listen, for those of you that have never heard from Jason Brown, I think that you're really going to get a lot from the call tonight. If you do have any questions, please feel free to enter those questions in the comments or questions section of the webinar dashboard, and we will do our best to make sure we get an answer to you back right away. So anyway, without any further delay, we're going to go ahead and get the call started. We're going to turn the time over to Mr. Jason Brown. Are you there, Jason?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, bright and clear, buddy. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Well, listen, I appreciate everybody getting on the call this evening, and geez, after an introduction like that, if I can live up to half of that introduction, then you should be pretty impressed with this presentation. Listen, again, we appreciate everybody logging in this evening, and the company you're going to take a look at is called Worth Unlimited. And I realize a lot of you on the call maybe have already seen this presentation, or a lot of you might already be on the product, but some of you are taking a look at this for the first time. And we kind of divide this presentation up into sections. The first thing we do is we tell you a little bit about our company and who we are, and then we talk about mortgages and the industry, and then we present you with our product. And one of the reasons we present the product, especially in the way we're going to do it, is so that you can get your mind wrapped around what this thing does. But one thing I want you to have in the back of your mind as we're going through this presentation is that you never have to give this presentation. If you decide to come on with our company as an agent, you don't have to give this presentation. You don't have to understand the inner workings of the software. You don't have to sell the software. But the reason we present it like this is because we want you to understand what it does, and we want you to kind of help get your mind wrapped around this thing. But guys, one of the best ways to describe what the Worth account does, the person who invited you on the call probably told you it's a software program that helps you pay your home off early and save money and interest. And again, I like to talk in stories and analogies. The best way to describe what this program does is to compare it to a GPS or navigation system for a car. If you've ever got in a car and typed in a navigation system where you want to go, it maps out turn by turn how to get there. And if along the way you make a wrong turn or you miss an exit, what's it do? It reconfigures itself and it guides you how to get back on track. Well, let me ask you, do you think it would be valuable to have a tool that did the exact same thing for you, but financially? Guys, a program that looks at your entire location, quote unquote, today and guides you mathematically the fastest way to zero. And if along the way you make a wrong turn financially and you overspend 1 month, what's it do? It reconfigures and guides you how to get back on track and make sure you get to that destination in the shortest possible time. Guys, it's not very often you get to share a product with somebody that is life-changing for them. And myself, I've had the opportunity to do that for the past 6 years and been fortunate enough to see thousands, if not tens of thousands of people get on this program and accelerate the payoff of their debt and their mortgage. But to tell you a little bit about our company, we started out in the mortgage industry in the late 90s and became very successful in that industry, one of the fastest growing companies in the state of Utah. But early on in business, we started to see a lot of repeat customers. Now, in most industries, that's a good thing, right? Repeat business. But in the mortgage industry, when somebody's coming back to refinance their home every other year or every third year, it's usually not because they're in a good situation, but because they've accumulated what? More debt. And they have to use the equity in their home to keep their head above water. And of course, that goal of getting their home actually paid off gets further and further away until it becomes, pretty much non-existent. Well, again, the owners of our company heard about a concept that was being used in Australia and parts of Europe that would take a mortgage, cut it in 1/2 to 1/3 the time with your already existing budget. Now, again, they spent about 2 years and several $1 million in research and development, and they took that concept from Australia and converted it to the way that U.S. banks and lenders charge interest on homes. And they developed it into a software program that takes the homeowner by the hand and walks them through how to do it. Guys, that's probably the most exciting part about our program is that you don't have to be a mortgage person or Excel spreadsheet guru or financial expert to follow the system. If you can log on to the internet and use a mouse, it's point and click. Now, we had the finished product in 2005, didn't want to just throw it out there and start selling it. We chose Denver, Colorado as a beta test, and we sold about 400 programs in Denver. And we let them sit for about a year using the program, a year and a half. Well, guys, after that 12 to 18-month test trial, the average client was already 20% ahead of their projected payoff when they got on the program. Because as you guys will start to see, the program starts to instill a discipline in you, and it's almost an unconscious discipline, and you'll see what I mean by that. So, guys, over the next few years, we just grew in leaps and bounds, and literally tens of thousands of people across the country getting on the software. So, again, the software then and the economy and the market changed a little bit in 2008, 2009. In 2008, things were growing, and it was so exciting. Ernst & Young, one of the largest financial firms in the world, every year they come up with an Entrepreneur of the Year award. And one of the categories for that award is financial services, which they awarded to the owners of our company back in 2008. So, guys, that's a pretty prestigious award. I don't want to go too much into it, but about a year ago, we were testing different ways to sell the program, and we had tried a mass mail campaign, and a gal called in from Ernst & Young, and I happened to be the one that took the call. And guys, it was weird because I saw on the caller ID it said Ernst & Young, and I'm like, gosh, that's strange. I wonder if Ernst & Young is calling in for, because of the award. And it was just a gal that happened to work there that just got the mailer. And she was calling about the program, and so I mentioned that we had received the Entrepreneur of the Year award, and she just said, you know what, I'm in. She goes, I don't even really understand what your program does, but if you guys got this award, I know what goes into what criteria they require and what type of background and everything they require on that. She goes, if you guys got that award, she goes, I know you're an incredible company. So, again, the program has changed a little bit to where it does not require a line of credit anymore, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And this launch is what we're the most excited about. When most people take a look at our program, their main question is, okay, you can pay my home off in 1/3 the time, but how? How does that work? And does it work on other debt? Okay, we're going to go into how it works, but the newest version does work on not just your mortgage, but it works on credit cards and vehicles and student loans and hospital bills and any type of debt you have. And then our third goal or our third strategy is we don't just throw you a piece of software and say, hey, good luck. We provide coaching and education, and the newest version of the software actually has wealth building elements to it as well. It helps track net worth, helps you set wealth building goals. But let's talk about the mortgage payoff. Now, most people, and I'm sure some of you on the phone tonight have dabbled at one time or another in the mortgage industry. When most people take a look at a mortgage, the only two things they need to know before they sign on the dotted line is rate and payment. And what I'm getting at there is most people really don't understand much about their mortgage. And so I'm going to give you guys a 30-second mortgage basics class here. Let's take a $200,000 mortgage at a 6% interest rate. Over 30 years, which is 360 months, the payment would be $1199.10. That's the actual payment for those terms. Well, month one, we send in $1199. $199 of the payment goes to principal. $1,000 goes where? To interest. Month two, we send in $1199. $200 goes to principal this month, and $999 to interest. So we're increasing the principal portion of our house payment by $1 from month one per month in the beginning of the loan. So, guys, we're really pounding down that mortgage, right? After 1 year, check this out. We made $14,000 in house payments over the course of the year, and only $2,400 of it actually went to principal. Okay, let me ask you a question, and I know we have people from all over the country on the call here tonight, but let's say you bought a home for $200,000 today, and 5 years from now you sell the house for $250,000. How do you feel you did? You know, most people say, I did okay, not too bad, right? Well, after 5 years on your loan, you've made $71,000 in house payments, and only $13,000 of that actually went to pay down the principal. Guys, if you sold that house for $250,000, what just happened? You lost money in that situation. Some people think after the 15th year on a 30-year mortgage, they're what? Halfway done, right? Well, guys, it's actually 21 years into a 30-year loan. We've made $300,000 in house payments. So we've paid for the house 1.5 times over. And how much do we still owe? We still owe $100,000. We just now hit the halfway point. It's not till the 21st through 30th year that you actually have more of your house payment going to principal on a monthly basis than you did interest. And of course, if you take that loan to term, you actually pay back $431,677 on a $200,000 mortgage. Guys, I gave this presentation a few months ago to a gentleman, real funny guy, kind of older, king of the one-liners type of guy, and he said, yeah, but my wife always wanted a $400,000 house. Well, she's getting it, isn't she? But guys, this is not something we made up. This is standard loan amortization. You can Google it, pull up an amortization calculator, type in these numbers, and to the penny, it's the same. Guys, it's almost impossible for the average person to get ahead in this system. And that's one of the reasons that the average American has now started to refinance their home every 3 or 4 years. They get down to here where they don't even barely make a dent on the mortgage, and they jump right back up to month one and start the whole process over again. So, guys, let me show you how the Worth Account program works. Let's pretend in that same loan that we could afford to add $5,000 to the monthly payment. Now, I know that's a big pretend. We're just pretending here, and we're not doing it every month. Let's just say we did it month one. So we send in a payment of $61.99. Let's see how that affects our mortgage. We get our statement in the mail the next month, and we now owe $195,000. So it worked, didn't it? It knocked $5,000 off the principal. Did our interest rate change? No, it's still 6%. Did our monthly payment change? Nope, bank still is requiring we send in $11.99 a month. Guys, we were scheduled to pay for how many months on that mortgage? Do you remember? 360. Well, look at that. That one $5,000 principal payment just canceled 23 payments, or 2 years, off of our mortgage. The original interest we were scheduled to pay was $231,677. Remember, we were going to pay $431,000 for the house. Well, that one $5,000 principal payment just canceled $28,304 of scheduled interest off that loan. Even if we don't count the $5,000 that we sent in, that's a net savings of $23,304. Guaranteed. Guys, the second we sent in that $5,000, as soon as it was applied to principal, that reduced our payoff of our mortgage 23 months or 2 years and $23,000 in interest payments. Now, I realize this looks good on paper, right? But what's the problem with this example in real life? $5,000. Most people don't have $5,000 that they can send in. And even if you did, you had $5,000 sitting in your savings account as an emergency fund, are you going to send it in on your mortgage? Probably not, because you can't get it back once you send it in. There is one way to get it back. Refinance. Cash out refi. Lose the $23,000 in interest savings, start the whole thing over, and again, begin from square one. Now, guys, this is not the worst account program, but this is the system that we use. I just want to show you how a lump sum payment affects not only the time we pay on the mortgage, but also the amount of interest we're going to pay. So do me a favor, put this example in the back of your mind. I'm going to refer back to it here in just a few minutes. All right, there's a couple different ways of following our program. When we first rolled out the program to the public, it required that you went and got a home equity line of credit. Now, again, back in 2005, 2006, 2007, that was okay because every single person could qualify for a home equity line of credit, even if you were upside down in your home. But what's that like today, guys? Lines of credit have become very difficult to get, almost impossible. And so the software, we've tweaked it to the point where now it'll work with any type of credit line, but the program will also work. In fact, probably 95% of the people purchasing our program today do it with just their existing checking and savings account. Now, as I go through here and I show you how the program works, I'm still going to show it using a line of credit because I think that's the easiest way for you to get your mind wrapped around how this thing works. But at the very end, I will show you how it works using a checking and a savings account. Okay, so again, let's go back to that same scenario. We have a $200,000 mortgage at a 6% interest rate on a 30-year loan. And let's say we could get a line of credit. Now, I'm calling it an advanced line of credit here, but we could get a line of credit with a $10,000 limit. Now, maybe the first thing you've got to really understand is how we use the line of credit. We're going to use it like our primary checking account. So in other words, we're going to pay all of our bills from it. We're going to buy our groceries, make our house payment, cell phone, groceries, entertainment, utilities. As we pull money out of the line of credit, we spend it. What happens to the balance? It starts to go up. But as soon as we get a paycheck, what are we going to do with it? We're going to put it right back in that line of credit, and it drives that balance back down. Now, guys, as soon as the balance on that line of credit gets down close to zero, the worst account software kicks in and prompts you as the homeowner to do what's called a funds transfer. It prompts you to pull a sum of money from the line of credit and send it over to the principal on the first mortgage. So in this example, it prompts you to do a funds transfer of $5,000. We hop online or we write a check from our line of credit and send it over to the principal on the first mortgage. Now, guys, think back. What does $5,000 do to a $200,000 mortgage at 6%? It knocks 2 years' payments and $23,000 in interest off that loan instantly. Now, when I saw this the first time, I said, yeah, but you still owe $5,000 over here. All you guys did was create one debt to pay off another. Guys, when we run your analysis and show you that your home's paid off in 8, 10, 12 years, not only is your first mortgage paid off, but so is the line of credit. You owe nothing. You own it outright, free and clear. How does the balance on the line of credit get paid down? Because we're using this like our checking account. So every month we're depositing our income into this account. It might take us 2 or 3 months to get that line of credit paid back down close to zero. But as soon as it gets close to zero, what happens? The software kicks in again, prompts us to do another funds transfer, and the balance goes back up a little bit. Takes us 2 or 3 months to get it paid back down close to zero, but as soon as it gets close to zero, what happens? boom, another funds transfer. So what happens is the first mortgage starts to get hammered down by big chunks every few months, canceling tens of thousands of interest, while the line of credit hovers down here around zero, and we pay pennies in interest over here. So what I'm going to do, hopefully you kind of get the concept, but I'm going to run through a monthly budget with a sample family just to show you again how this works. So let's say we bring in $5,000 a month in income, and we have $4,000 a month in living expenses. Now that's everything: house payment, car payment, cell phone, groceries, entertainment, all that stuff. So that leaves us with $1,000 of discretionary income a month. Yes, I realize the average American does not have $1,000 left over at the end of the month. I'm just going to use these numbers to get the concept across to you. The program works for people that have as little as $20, $50 a month as of discretionary income. Now, the first thing we're going to purchase in month one is the actual program. Now, guys, for years our program sold for $3,500. The worth account now, the price of the program is based, it's a percentage of how much we save you. And so it goes from anywhere from 0.5% up to 3% of the interest saved. Again, the cost of the program can anywhere, be down as low as $2,000 all the way up to $3,495. So I'm going to kind of say worst case scenario, it's $3,500. That's the first thing we're going to put on our line of credit. But guys, it's the first of the month, so we have to do what? We've got to pay bills. So our house payment and groceries and cell phone, all those expenses come out, and now the balance on the line of credit's up to $7,500. Are you with me? So again, I'm monitoring the balance on the line of credit. We're at $7,500, but we also deposit our paycheck in there. Our $5,000 goes against that balance and lowers it to $2,500. Even though we used $7,500 out of the line of credit, we only get charged interest on the $2,500. This is an open-ended line of credit. If we were at a 10% interest rate, now again, lines of credit right now are at 2 or 3%, but if we had a 10% interest rate, the finance charge for the month would be $20.83. Now, we never send $20.83 to the bank because we already sent them $5,000. Now, did they take the $20 out of the $5,000? Sure they did. Okay, but it is not another bill or another check that we're having to send in addition to our deposit of our income. So let's take the $2,500 and roll it over to the next month. We just continue living our life as normal. Our balance carries over. We spend $4,000 in living expenses. That raises the balance to $6,500. We deposit $5,000 in income. The balance on the line of credit's down to $1,500. We get charged interest for the month at 10% would be $12.50. If we carry the $1,500 over to month 3, we spend $4,000 in living expenses. Don't forget, guys, that includes your house payment. You still have to make that every month. Balance goes up to $5,500. We deposit our paycheck. Now it's where it starts to get exciting. Guys, the balance on the line of credit is almost to zero. We're down to $500. What's getting ready to happen? The software kicks in and says, okay, time to do a funds transfer. Let's move $3,675.77 from the credit line and send it over to the principal on the mortgage. So that raises the balance on the credit line back up to $41.75. We get charged interest for the month at 10% is $34.80. Now, guys, just to catch up, we've been on the program for interest is gone, which is 18 house payments that we will never have to make. Guys, if we look at the amortization schedule again, remember we started at 360 payments. We're only 3 months in, and we have 339 left. the principal portion of our house payment was increasing at $1 a month. Do you remember that? Well, from month 3 to month 4, it just increased by $19. And you may not think that's a big deal. I've had people say, Jason, $19, big deal. Do you realize how long it would have taken you of making your monthly house payment to get to the point where you had an extra $19 going to principal? A year and a half. And guys, we owe $195.7 on the loan. So here's what we owe on the line of credit. That's just going to carry over to month 4, and we're going to continue doing the same thing. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. Expenses go out, income comes in. And you'll start to see the balance on the line of credit start to get paid back down by our discretionary income. And again, it's costing us $25, $20 a month in interest on the credit line. Month 5, we owe $2,000 on the line of credit. That carries over to month 6. Spending 4, depositing 5. We're almost down to 0 again. The line of credit is back down to $1,000. What's getting ready to happen? Another funds transfer. The software kicks in and tells us this month, okay, do a funds transfer of $2,920.23. Let me ask you a question. Does it make you guess how much to move? No, it tells you to the penny for your situation. And guys, all the math behind this is based solely on your numbers. It's going to be different for everybody. So we do that funds transfer. It goes straight over to the first mortgage. It costs us $34 in interest that month, but that $29.20 goes right to principal on the mortgage and cancels another $12,200 of scheduled interest off the loan and reduces the mortgage payoff by another 16 house payments. So if we wrap up 6 months, we've paid a total of $146.85 in interest on the credit line over a 6-month time frame. But we've canceled $29,523 of scheduled interest off the loan, which is interest that we were going to have to pay, which is 37 house payments that are gone, that we'll never have to make. So guys, if we look at the amortization schedule again, we're 6 months in. We're down to 323 months remaining. The principal portion of our house payment increased again from month 6 to month 7, another $15. Guys, I'm going to tell you, this whole process starts to get addicting to you as a homeowner. I mean, I have people that I put on this program 4, 5, 6 years ago that still call me or email me once a year, maybe once every other year, just to tell me where they're at on the payoff of their debt and their home. I have one lady from my hometown in Colorado that actually looks forward to getting her mortgage statement in the mail each month because she can't wait to see how much principal has been paid down. It actually starts to get exciting. So after 6 months on this example, we paid down the principal of the first mortgage of almost $8,000. Okay, well, guys, I'm going to go ahead and jump to the end of the year. Hopefully you're getting the concept. As soon as we do the funds transfers, the balance on the line of credit has to get paid back down to that optimal level before the software will prompt another funds transfer. As you can see, it just did in month 9 again. I'm going to get up to month 12 here. You know, I'm going to point one thing out in month 11 before we get to the end of the year. I realize we're making this look good on paper because we're keeping our income and expenses the same. Does that ever happen in real life? No, it doesn't. Income might stay the same for some people, but expenses are all over the board, right? I'm sure no one on this call has ever done this before, but let's say in month 11, you guys actually spent more than you made, okay? We made $5,000, but you spent $6,000. In real life, if you're not using our software, in real life, you overspend by $1,000, what happens? Well, that money has to come from somewhere. It's got to be put on a credit card now or pulled from savings. If you didn't have either of those, you're overdrawn. Well, let's say you're on our program in month 11, that happens. Guys, the software reconfigures itself with every single transaction. It knows exactly what's going on. It sees that we overspent. Chances are we were going to do a funds transfer next month. We might actually still do it. It's just going to be a smaller amount. Now, if we really overspend, the software might push that funds transfer back 2 weeks or 4 weeks until that line of credit is paid down enough to do that funds transfer. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you can repeatedly overspend every month, but if it happens here or there, it does not throw you off track. Okay, back to month 12. We're down to $1,000. We know what's coming, right? Well, how much is it going to tell us to move? The beauty of it is you don't know. You don't have to know. The software tells you to the penny for your situation, the day to do it, and how much to move. So it kicks in at $29,1767. We move that amount over to the first mortgage. The entire thing goes right to principal and cancels another $10,000 in scheduled interest and another 14 house payments. So, guys, wrapping it up. We've been on the program for 12 months, and it's cost us $297 in interest on the credit line to cancel $50,800 in scheduled interest in 1 year, which is 53 house payments. Now, guys, that same gentleman I was telling you about, the funny older guy that mentioned he wanted a $400,000 house, well, he said, you know, Jason, you may not know this, but mortgages used to come with payment coupon books. And I said, well, my first car loan came with a payment coupon book where every month I had to tear the coupon off and send in a check with it. And he says, so you're telling me I can rip out the last 53 payment coupons out of my book and throw them away? Absolutely, I'm telling him that. Because even if he stops using the program at this time, do those 53 payments ever come back? No, they're gone. We have already jumped ahead 53 months, so we have 295 months left, even if we stop using the software. Now, of course, we're not going to even have 295 because we're going to continue to use the software. But the principal portion of our house payment increased over the course of the year almost $76. So not only are we paying it off faster on the back end, canceling principal and interest, we're paying it off faster on the front end because more of our house payments go into principal every month. And guys, we owe $184,000 on the loan after 1 year. So in 1 year, we've paid down the principal of the first mortgage almost $16,000, just over $15,000. If you had just been making your regularly scheduled house payment, you'd still owe $197,500 on the loan. It would take you 5.5 years of making your house payment to get to the same place we did in 1 year using the Worth account. Now, the payoff on this mortgage would be 10.4 years versus 30 years, and it would save us about $160,000 in interest. And guys, this is a $200,000 mortgage. When you start looking at loans of $250,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, the interest savings becomes $200,000, $300,000, $400,000. Guys, I did a presentation for a gentleman on Monday morning, and he didn't have a huge mortgage. It wasn't even $200,000, but he had some other debt that we included in the software as well. But his interest savings was $199,000. I mean, do you think he was excited? I'm going to tell you, he was almost yelling through the phone how amazing the program was. So here's a snapshot of what the software actually looks like. Again, I compare it to a GPS because across the top it has our dashboard. It tells us how many years we have left. Now, this window in particular, for me and my wife, is the most addicting because it's constantly changing. Every time you make a transaction, whether it's a deposit or a withdrawal, the software reconfigures itself. And so if you pull money out and you spend it, what happens to that number? It starts to climb. But if you deposit money into the line of credit, or the less you spend, what happens to that number? It starts to go down. So you see the instant cause and effect of your finances. Now, you can choose between about 10 different windows up here if you'd rather see some other items. You can kind of customize it for yourself. One thing I always like to point out is let's say this is your situation, and we're at 9.3 years left. Guys, before you buy something, you can come on here and ask the software how that's going to affect it. So let's say we're at 9.3 years and we want to take a vacation. We're going to spend $2,500 on a cruise, okay, including airfare, the whole deal. So $2,500. Before we do that, when we're making the decision, we can come over here and hit Add New Action and tell it how much we're going to spend, and it'll tell us, okay, if you do that, it's going to take you to 9.7, and it'll tell us how much extra interest it's going to cost. Okay, so again, it really gives you a 2020 foresight on what your finances are doing. Couple other features, text messages. If you'd like to know, hey, today X amount of money came out of my checking or my savings account, the software will actually send you a text message with that information. Live transaction updates. If you go to the grocery store and you swipe $15 on your credit or debit card, by that night, it shows up executed in your software. Guys, it's a tracking tool, but really the software just needs to know two things: how much money's coming in and how much money's going out, and it does the rest for you. So hopefully you can understand literally what an impact this program can have on people and on the finances of Americans in general. But in just 3 years, you got to realize in just 3 years, over $400 million in principal have been paid down using our software. And guys, that's just scratching the surface with the mortgage debt in our country, but it's growing exponentially and it's exciting. So most of you say, okay, I understand how it works on a mortgage. What about my other debt? Because my situation looks more like this, doesn't it? I got credit cards and vehicles and student loans, and man, I got this motorhome and car loans. You know, every financial expert out there will tell you their way of paying it down, right? For example, Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey says, hey, if you've got $500 more a month, you need to put it all on this debt. Why is that? Because it's the lowest balance debt, and it'll get paid off the fastest, and then go to this one, and then take the money from that one and go to this one. Okay, not a bad scenario, but some other people out there like John Commuta, he says, no, take all your extra money and put it on this debt. Why? Because it's at the highest interest rate, and it'll save you the most money by getting that one paid off earliest. You know what amazes me is, guys, isn't it just math? Couldn't mathematically you tell me which loan I should pay off first? But nobody uses that. The software looks at every aspect of each debt. It does look at the balance, but it looks at the term. Is this a 5-year loan? Is it a 10-year, 20-year loan? Credit cards are 20-year amortized loans. Most people don't know that. It takes into account the interest rate, but it looks at the minimum monthly payment, how it's calculated, when it's due, and, of course, adjusting interest rates. It might have it mapped out one way, but as soon as the rate changes, the software reconfigures and may tell you to do a different thing. So, guys, let me wrap up with this. How does the program work? Again, this is just a review. So we have our line of credit set up here. We just paid bills, so the balance is up a little bit. Income comes into checking account. We have direct deposit, right? So then we just roll the money over into our line of credit, and the balance decreases. Next month, same thing. Income comes in. We roll it over to the line of credit. The balance decreases. It took us a couple months, but we got down to that optimal transfer point. What's getting ready to happen? The software kicks in and prompts us to do the funds transfer. It tells us the day to do it, the exact amount to move. But check this out, guys. We have more debt than just our mortgage. So in the beginning, that funds transfer may not go right to the mortgage. It might go to one of the other debts. It's so funny. When people see this for the first time, you can see that light just click and turn on, and they go, oh my gosh, that's incredible. It makes sense. So in the beginning, those funds transfers might go somewhere else. But guys, 2 or 3 more funds transfers, and that motorcycle is what? Paid off. And that $200 a month motorcycle payment is now more discretionary income. So the funds transfers, how does that affect those? Well, they become bigger, and they come more often. And so then the funds transfers might go to the mortgage. They might go to the vehicle. They might go to one of the credit cards or other debt. The software takes you by the hand and guides you how to do it. Now, I mentioned that the majority of people are doing the program without a line of credit today. They're doing it with a checking and a savings account. Hopefully using the line of credit as an example, it helps you get your mind wrapped around it. But again, the majority of people are doing it the way I'm getting ready to show you, a checking and a savings account. The first thing you do is you come in and tell the software, here's exactly how much I always want to have in these accounts. And the program will never prompt you to move money below those reserves. So let's say we told the software we want $500 in our checking account and $5,000 in our savings account. Now, if we didn't have $5,000 in there, what is the program going to do? It's going to build it. It's going to build that $5,000 before it starts working on debt. But here's how it works. The income comes into checking. Now, we don't have a line of credit, so we actually have to pay our bills with our own money. We can't float unless we put it on a credit card and pay it off at the end of the month. But either way, the discretionary income, remember that $500, that $1,000, whatever's left over at the end of the month gets kicked over into savings. Next month, the same thing. Income comes in, we pay bills, whatever's left over gets kicked over into savings. So remember, with the line of credit, the discretionary income was paying down the balance, right? And it took us a couple months to get it paid down, and then it prompted a funds transfer. Well, this is the exact same thing, but opposite. Our discretionary income is building in a savings account. And in the exact same amount of time that it would have taken us to pay down the balance on a credit line, we've built enough money to do what? A funds transfer. The software kicks in, prompts us the day to do it, the amount to move, and again, the debt to send it to. I think in this example, guys, it actually goes to the vehicle. Okay, so it always tells you exactly what to do, and you know, people say, okay, so I make a minimum payment on every other debt, and just let the software tell me what to do with all my extra money. Absolutely. Okay, and guys, the third goal that the software takes care of is, again, we provide coaching. We don't just put you on the program and say, hey, good luck. You actually go through. It's unlimited coaching, one-on-one. You're not listening to group presentations, phenomenal customer service and client support. But to be honest with you, it's pretty simplistic to use. It's very user friendly. It's just point and click. You know, a lot of people say, okay, well, yeah, I love to get out of debt, but the main reason of getting out of debt is to build that nest egg and start to create wealth. And so if we take you from 30 years down to 10.4, well, guys, that's 19.6 years that you don't have a house payment anymore, right? And so what if you took your house payment and your discretionary income and you continue to use that in your favor by putting it into an investment for the 19 years after your house was paid off? Guys, if you averaged a 6% return on that money, you have just shy of $1 million in that account in the same amount of time that you were supposed to just be getting your house paid off. So, guys, if you're taking a look at this for the first time, chances are you're thinking one of two things. Man, this thing is absolutely incredible. I can't wait to get my own home paid off. Guys, you might be on here looking at this as an opportunity and a way that you can make money. But one thing you need to do is get on the program yourself. Call our analysis hotline and have the program give you a free analysis. Because I can sit here and tell you how incredible this thing is all day, but until you actually see your numbers and your information, it really does not make the impact on you. So, guys, one of the other things that people are typically thinking at this time is, how do I share this with other people? You know, when I first looked at this the first time, I said, man, I know a ton of people that would be all over this thing, and how can I get involved? And so, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to introduce somebody who's going to talk just a couple minutes about maybe the product and her experience as an opportunity. And this is Joan Hackenstadt, and Joan has actually been very instrumental in getting, again, hundreds of people on the program over the years, and she just stepped up and really become a leader with the company. And I'm extremely excited to work with Joan now and in the future. I got to spend a few minutes with Joan on the phone today, and you can literally hear the passion and excitement in her voice. And I think a huge part of that, and I don't want to tell her story, but I think a huge portion of her excitement and passion comes from the product itself. And so, Joan, are you on the phone? We may have her muted. Joan, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can now. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, thanks so much. Just, if you wouldn't mind, Joan, just take a couple minutes and talk about your experience becoming a worth agent and kind of your experience with the program. And, man, I sure appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. And I guess I should start with my own story. We were first introduced to this program about 5.5 years ago. And in our scenario, we were shown how we were going to have a 29-year mortgage paid off in 9.1 years. Now, when we were introduced to this, and my husband and I are very analytical, I happen to be married to a rocket scientist. Yes, the true rocket scientist, the old adage, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. Well, in our household, it sure does. It takes one to change a light bulb and take out the trash. Nonetheless, we're both very, very analytical. So when we were shown this, and we could pay off a 29-year mortgage in 9.1 years, and we saw the numbers and everything that Jason showed, it still we still weren't 100% convinced just because, we just have to know all the details about it. So my nerdy husband took a little calculator, took an Excel spreadsheet, and locked himself in the office for the weekend. When he came out to crunch some numbers, and when he came out, he said, "Oh my goodness, Joan, I have three things." Well, I'll leave out the first thing. I have two things to say. It's all about math, and I never want to do that math again. Go buy the program. So we went out and we invested in the program. And let me tell you, it's the best investment that we've made. Golly, I live in Las Vegas. We out here in Las Vegas have experienced a huge decline in our real estate market. In fact, the majority of people are upside down by over 60% of their original house values. And because of this program, we've been able to pay off our $535,000 mortgage in, well, it's not completely paid off, but we only owe about $379,000 now. Now, our house is only valued at about $340,000, but nonetheless, we are much closer to not being upside down because of this program. That provides for us a lot of choices and a lot of opportunities we wouldn't have otherwise. So I say all that to say that is why I'm passionate about the program, because of what it's done for me, because of what it's done for my family, and knowing that we are just in an economy that is in dire need of this service. My goodness gracious, 95% of the houses here in Las Vegas are upside down. That's a huge target market. People need this service now more than ever. Debt is at an all-time high. Debt is the number one issue on people's minds. So people need this service. They need this now more than ever, and there is a huge opportunity to make this a win-win-win for everybody involved, to get people on the program, to help them with the number one issue on their mind, to help them get ahead, to help us earn some extra income, because let me tell you, the compensation plan that you guys are going to be seeing is incredible. Oh my golly, it can literally change not only the financial future that you have right now, but of your generations to come, with what Jason's going to show you today. And of course, it's a win for the company as well. So it's truly a win-win-win for all involved. So yes, I have to say I have excitement because of my experience and because of all that this has to offer for everybody else.
Awesome. Joan, thank you so much. Man, I wish I could talk that fast.
Oh my goodness, I know I do speak too fast, I'm sorry.
That's awesome. So let me ask you this. Is the way you put it, your nerdy husband, is he sitting there listening to this as well?
Yeah, he's looking at me like, oh, again, Joan.
I kind of wonder what my wife, what adjective she used to describe me, so that's funny. Well, seriously, thanks so much, Joe, for being on the call and everything you do. And again, the amount of people that you're helping on this thing is incredible. So thanks for your time.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, guys, I'm going to take the last 10 minutes of the call and just go over kind of what we do as a worth agent and what type of commission and compensation is available to you. When I kind of mentioned, when I first introduced this to a few people, my very first month, I mentioned the program to 3 people, and 2 of them ended up getting on the program. And the craziest thing happened within a few weeks of those guys using the program. I started to get calls from them. Number 1, to thank me for the program, and number 2, to tell me they've talked to their brother and he wants on it, their coworkers want on it, their neighbors want on it. In fact, I just earlier had a conversation with an agent today named Dennis out of Florida, and he said, oh my gosh, the people who have already bought the program are already calling me to thank me and tell me how excited they are. And again, the concept and the program just kind of goes viral, viral in a good way. But I think what makes this opportunity so great is its simplicity. And the fact that it's so duplicatable. Guys, if you'll notice in this picture, does this gal have a laptop on her lap? Is she presenting on a whiteboard and giving the presentation that you just saw? No, she's not. She's not running an analysis. You don't have to do any of that as an agent. Guys, in our prior marketing model, the agent had to give the presentation that you just saw, had to sell the program, answer questions, run the analysis. Hopefully you understand, running the analysis meant they had to tell you all their debt. And typically your neighbors don't really want to tell you that, okay? And then you had to collect payment as well. And guys, in that model, we did about $350 million in business in about a 2.5 to 3 year time frame. Well, guess what? We took the hardest parts of that model out. The agent doesn't have to sell. All you have to do as an agent is just refer people to the product. Okay, just literally explain how awesome that you found a program. The conversation might go something like this. Hey, John, I don't know what your mortgage or your debt situation is, nor do I want to know, but my wife and I have come across this incredible program. It's helping us pay our home off early. We had 27 years left on our mortgage. It's going to pay us off in 9.5 years. You got to take a look at this thing. It's incredible. Well, John's going to go, really? Well, what is it? How does it work? You know what, John? I'm not the best person to explain it. I mean, we just got on the program ourselves, but it's incredible. I've referred a few people over to this company already. They offer you a free analysis where they'll tell you how much they're going to save you. They tell you when everything would be paid off. I mean, they explain the whole thing for you, and they do a lot better job than I would. John, let me have them give you a call. Well, he's going to go, well, how much is it? Oh, that's the best part, John. It's that they actually base their fee off of how much they saved you. So it's done on a percentage. When's a good time I can hook you up with these guys? Guys, I'm going to tell you that literally 2-minute conversation directs the people to the home office, and then we treat those clients with kid gloves and go through and run their analysis for them and give them the presentation you've seen. Sometimes it turns into 3 or 4 different calls. We're not hard closing anybody. The program literally sells itself, and then guess what happens? You get paid a commission on that deal. And to be honest, guys, referring people to products or things that you enjoy becomes natural. I mean, how many of you ever gone to a good movie or a good book, or you read a good book, or you went to a good restaurant, and then the next day or the next week you told somebody about it? And that's all we're doing. It just comes natural. And so that's what we do as agents. We just direct people to get a free worth account analysis. There's no selling involved on your end. And then we build a team of people that does the same. And again, even if you don't start out wanting to build a team, I promise it's going to happen whether you want it to or not, because once people are on the program, they just want to share it with people. So how do we get paid? Now, number one is worth sales, your personal referrals. We ought to take the word sales out of there because you're not selling anything. You're just referring people to the company. And I called one of our old agents in Colorado. She had a few hundred people in her organization and was making some pretty good money. And I explained this new marketing plan, and she said, so I don't have to sell. She's like, that's good, because I was not very good at selling the program. She said, all I have to do is refer, and I get a finder's fee or a referral from that sale. And I said, yeah. And she goes, well, how much is it? I said, well, depending on your rank with the company and your volume that month, anywhere between $500 and $1,100. Well, there was silence on the phone. She's like, per sale. So if I talk to somebody for 10 minutes and get them to call in and they buy the program, I make between $500 and $1,100. She goes, I was expecting $50 when you said a referral. Guys, no, it is. It's lucrative. We've also put together a personal producer bonus pool where 2.5% of every sale in the company goes into this pool. And if you refer 3 people in the month who buy the program, you get a portion of that pool paid out at the end of the month. We'll talk a little more about that in a second. We have a fast start program. Guys, we understand, when we were putting together our compensation plan, Spence and Skylar and John, guys, they did a ton of market research, and they took a look at the companies that are seeing the most explosive growth and production, and the agents are making the most money, and they stole the most exciting parts of the compensation plan. One of them is a fast start bonus. We realize your first 30 to 60 days with our company is the most important time. Because, guys, if you don't make money or you make very little money in the first month or two with our company, how long are you going to last? How long are you going to do this? You're not going to do it very long. My wife would not let me do it very long if I was not making any money with it. And so, guys, we have a fast start bonus where in addition to that $500 to $1,100 commission, we're going to pay you an additional 5% for your first 60 days. We really want to make sure you build with or start the business with a solid foundation. The third thing is a mentor bonus. Anyone that you recruit as an agent into the company, their first 60 days is the most crucial, and they're going to look to you for coaching and mentoring. And so we're going to match that fast start bonus that they get to you as well for their first 60 days. So anyone you recruit into the business, their first 60 days, you also get that 5% bonus and override. If they recruit somebody into the business, you get 3% for the first 60 days of that second person. But guys, our compensation plan is as lucrative as anything I've ever seen. There's a tons of other commissions and bonuses. John and Skylar are huge on team incentives and competitions and trips. I know about 3 years ago, my wife and I went on an amazing, all expenses paid 7-day cruise paid for by the company. I mean, we love to do those kind of things. Now, John, if you don't know John Waschenko, one of the founders, he is an Excel spreadsheet guru, okay? And I'm not. And I'm going to try and, here, John, you take it and get that one. But he put together an Excel spreadsheet because I can sit here and talk about these bonuses and all the different ways that we get paid, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to most people until they can actually see it in a numbers form. Okay, so he put together an Excel spreadsheet and programmed in every one of our bonuses. So this is awesome. They posted this in the back office. You can come in here and say, okay, if I refer this many people a week, if I get this many agents referring this many people, it'll calculate what your check is. And let me tell you, if you plan on sleeping at night, do not play with this thing because it gets addicting. It's so easy to type in the numbers. So, guys, most people that I ask, hey, if you got serious and excited about a program, how many people do you think you could refer in a week? And I've had people say, oh, man, 10, 5. Well, guys, let's say that's too aggressive. And let's say that we talk to one person on Tuesday and one on Thursday. So we literally refer 2 people in a week. Now, guys, the home office is actually, of all the referrals and presentations that come in, we're closing anywhere between 50 and 80% of the presentations that we give. I'm going to be conservative and say we're closing 1 out of 3, 37%. Guys, if that's the case, you refer 2 people in a week to take a look at the program, and we only close 1 out of 3 in the month, your check is $1,950. Guys, is that decent money for a part-time income? If each one of those conversations took you 15 minutes and you did 2 a week, that's a half hour, so 2 hours a month, and you made $1,950. Well, guys, no matter what's going to happen, you are going to get agents to sign up underneath you, and then you're going to start to get excited about the opportunity and talk to people about it. You refer them to this call, they sign up as an agent. Let's say you get 3 agents. They don't do anything extraordinary. They're not out referring 5 to 10 people a week. They're just doing 2. So let's say they do 2 as well. Guys, we're now making $2,860, and we got a promotion to supervisor. So when we recruited the 3 agents, we got a promotion to supervisor, and we get 4% on everything they do. Now, guys, keep in mind, this does not include the fast start bonus, the extra 5% that you're going to make on those new people. So you're actually going to make a little more than this. So we get a little more excited. We go out and recruit 3 more people. We get 6 people. Guys, 6 people gives us a promotion to director. We're now making 6% on all the production on our personal referrals, and we pick up 2% on any agents that they refer. But in this example, we're making almost $5,000 a month, and we have no one on our second level. So guys, that's $58,000 a year just by referring a handful of people that are only referring 2. Well, guys, let's assume that, and this is probably pretty realistic, the majority of these agents are not going to do anything or refer other people. So let's say only 2 of them actually do what you did and went and got their 3 people to become a supervisor as well. So we get 2 of those become go get their 6 agents, to become director. That's 12 agents on our second level, each referring 2 people. Guys, our income just shot up to $8,500. You realize that's $102,000 a year. Now, the numbers are never going to work out exactly like this, 12 doing 2. You're going to have 1 or 2 people that do 5 or 10, and some people don't do anything. But again, just so you understand the power of our compensation plan, I'm going to take it one step further. We're going to say that 8 of these people don't do anything with it, and only 4 of them go out and get their 6 reps. They only go out and get their 6 agents. That gives us 24 people on our third level that are each doing 2 sales. Guys, that's a $10,000 a month bonus. And you got to realize that not one of these agents is ever making a sale. All they're doing is referring the people in and let the coaches in-house actually make that sale for you. Now we're at the executive director position. I want you to remember this position because I'm going to talk about it in just a couple more minutes. But guys, once people underneath you become executive director and you start hitting these upper levels on the compensation plan, so if you get 1 branch underneath you that's the same size and doing the same thing that you're doing, each referring 2 people, I mean, the income grows with leaps and bounds. And I could sit here and take this up. In our last organization, we had people making $200,000 and $300,000 a month. It will get there again, but I want to keep the numbers as realistic as possible. And so, guys, let's go back up here and say you don't have any agents. You didn't refer anybody, but you know what? You can get paid based on how much effort you put in. And so let's say you were able to talk to 1 person a day. 1 person a day during the week, taking weekends off, yields a $7,300 a month income. Guys, the exciting part about this business is you can get paid literally how hard you want to work. Okay, and again, the program is one that get back on the actual slide. The program is one you can just feel good about referring people to. Friends and family is literally every one of my family members is on the program. So, guys, I want to wrap things up and end this with bonus pools. I talked a little bit about the personal producer pool. By getting 3 personal activations in a month, you get a share of every sale made in the company, not just your organization. The exciting part about this is it's almost free money. I remember turning in 3 sales and getting already paid the commission on those, and then all of a sudden a check for a couple $1,000 shows up at the end of the month as a bonus pool. What do you think that does for people that have 2 sales in a month? They're biting and scratching to get to that 3rd sale. Okay, if you notice, the top position on our comp plan was called partner pool. Guys, we are taking 6.25% of every sale company-wide and putting it into a pool that the rank of partner applies to. And again, this is something that's literally unprecedented in the industry. I've never seen it where a company is literally saying, okay, you've reached a portion in our compensation plan. We want you to be a partner in our company. And some of the feedback we got on this bonus pool was, wow, that's incredible, but how motivating is it to a brand new person? Because partner it might take them a year or 2 years to get there. So Skylar Whitman actually came up with what's called the fast track to partner. Guys, if you reach that executive director position in the first 6 months, in the first 6 months of signing up with our company, you get to participate in 50% of that partner pool. And it's paid out in shares at the end of the month This promotion applies, and again, this is not forever, guys. This is just a promotion. It applies for all agents that sign up now through September 30th. Already existing agents that signed up a month ago, your first 6 months started Monday. All right, so literally the race is on. I know Joan had a call today. She's got about 26 people in her organization that are excited and committed to making this fast track to partner. How do you get to executive director? Starting as an agent, let me just show you how simple it is. And you tell me if you think we could do this in 6 months. So to go from agent to supervisor, all you got to do is have 3 recruits. We get excited, we recruit 3 more agents, and we become a director. To get to the next level, which is managing director, you just got to recruit or produce 2 directors in your organization. So 2 people go out and get their 6 recruits. Now, guys, there are some sales requirements in here as well, but believe me, they're so low that if people are just doing the minimum and referring 1 person every other week, you'll have no problem hitting those sales requirements. But to go from managing director to executive director, you just have to get 2 managing directors. So 2 people who went and got 2 directors. I mean, guys, it really is that simple. Now, an executive director gets to participate in 50% of the partner pool. Well, we don't want you to take your foot off the gas, and so the next position above is called managing executive. Once you have an executive director in your organization, you pick up another 10% access on that partner pool. Remember the partner pool? We only got 50% access here. Well, now it's 60. The next position up is senior managing executive. You get 70% of the pool. The next position up is managing executive director. You get 80% of the partner pool. And finally, the top position in the company is partner, where you literally get to share in the overall worth, the overall revenue of the company. So, guys, get with the person who invited you on the call. I sure appreciate your time. Fill out your application to become an agent. It's $149 to become an agent. We're running a promotion right now. You pay your $149, and if you make a sale, if one of your personal referrals activates within the first 30 days, you actually get refunded the $149 on top of your commission, okay? Again, something I've never heard of another company doing is actually refunding your enrollment. We do training calls every Thursday night. We do an agent training call where we talk a little bit about the product, but a little bit what to do to become a successful agent. We actually have a gentleman that's going to talk on tomorrow night's call who just signed up as an agent last Friday, and he's already got 2 sales in the books, and he's just going gangbusters with this. He's going to talk about what he says to people and how he gets them excited, and he just does a good job of getting people prepped for their call. But make sure you don't miss that. Every Wednesday night we do an opportunity call. If you have somebody you think might be interested in hearing about the opportunity, you might want to recruit them, get them on this call so they can see what the product is and take a look at our compensation. So, well, guys, I sure appreciate your time this evening. I'm actually going to turn the time back over to Skylar Whitman to end the call. He, again, has done so much for us all. I know you guys have heard Skylar and are very familiar with him, but he's been one of the captains of this whole ship, and one of the men that we have to thank for the amazing product and amazing opportunity that we've had. So, Skylar, are you there?
I'm here, buddy. Hey, thank you so much, Jason. Listen, if everybody was here live, I would ask everybody to give him a round of applause for the excellent job he did in presenting tonight. Just wanted to let everybody know that this call has been recorded, and it will be posted into the agent back office within the next day or so. So if you have anybody that missed this call that you really wanted to see this, or if you have anybody after you've seen this tonight that you feel would be benefiting from seeing this, and you're already an agent, log into the agent back office in the next couple of days, and you will be able to view that. Listen, I don't think I can add anything more to the information that Jason went over with you tonight that will help it to, come across any more clearly or any better than it is. But the reality is, everybody, we've got so many people that are so excited right now, not just about the opportunity, but about how this program is literally transforming people's lives financially. And in a market like this, talk about an absolute critical timing for a product like this to come to market. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us. Again, we will have this call posted in the back office. We wish you a good night, and we hope to have you on tomorrow night's call at 6 o'clock Mountain